actors, real answers. I am so stoked about my guest today. His name is Bryan Gibbs. He graduated from Wayne State University, which I went there too. It was totally awesome. It's in Detroit, Michigan. And he has some great stories about getting real with acting, with directing, success stories, struggles. I'm not going to talk anymore. What I want him to tell his story, and it'll be fun. So tune in, shut out everything else, okay? No distractions, and focus, and you're going to learn some things, some amazing things, okay? Hey, Bryan.
Hey, it's a pleasure to be on your show. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So I said a little bit about you, but I know you got more because it's your life. The first thing, I met you through my friend Robin Mudge and David Mudge. What were you doing with them?
Yeah, so I've been directing a movie called The Social Worker, and Robin plays one of the main characters. Her name is Karen. She plays a wife of a social worker who is not very satisfied with the life that they're living. Social workers don't make a lot of money economically, and it can have a lot of negative impacts on a marriage. And so on one of these particular shoots, we were heading out to some place in mid-Michigan, about an hour to 2 hours away from everybody. It's 7:30 in the morning. I'm meeting up with my producer, Dante, who's carpooling, and I get an email from one of my actors, and he says his car is broken down right outside of Grand Rapids. To give you an idea where that is, that's like 3 hours from where anything else is going on that day. So we're going to figure this out. Before I can even take a second to think about it, my lead actor, Jeremy Francois, he texts me saying his car is overheated and he's broken down at his mom's, which is 40 minutes another direction.
Okay.
So the immediate thing we do is, okay, well, we're going to go get Jeremy. He's the main actor. Then the next thing I think is we're supposed to shoot a scene in the car today. So that's probably not going to happen either. So on the way, picking up Jeremy, Dante and I are thinking to ourselves, okay, we only have like 4 or 5 shoots left. I really don't want to reschedule this. How are we going to get somebody? What are we going to do? What's our game plan? Because in film, I've learned, film is a lot about compromise, and stuff is going to happen. You just have to react to it and not just, take it negatively. So we're debating in our heads, and Dante mentions Dave, Robin's husband. He's been coming along for all these shoots, and he's mentioned that he's helped out on other sets, and he seemed like a pretty amicable guy. I'm coming today. So I text Robin, and I ask, hey, would he be interested in doing this? He said, yeah. So I'm like, all right, just to let you know, the shoot's now starting 2 hours late because we're still picking up the lead actor. So we finally get to the set. He's still learning his lines because this character does have lines. It's not just some extra, but it's an actual, role.
Right.
He does his lines. He nails the character flawlessly, almost, I think, better than what I could have hoped for otherwise. And then somehow we still finished the shoot 20 minutes early. But if he had not done that, I would not have had my scene shot. I would have rescheduled. I would have been in much more pain than I am currently.
I have to ask you, how many hats does a producer, scriptwriter, director actually wear besides their title?
Oh, plenty. Too many hats.
Because you had quite the rock and roll day. I mean, 24 hours, but it was filled with unexpected things.
Oh, sure. I mean, that's how a traditional film shoot goes for a lot of people, I think.
For actors that are late, you don't want to be late, right? But for actors that are late, or the car breaks down, or a director, the sun is not where you want it in the, in the sky. All those things that are unpredictable. How do you keep yourself in control? How do you discipline your emotions and your focus most of all?
Well, I like to think I'm a very organized person. I write schedules. I mean, I'm not a very normal director in the sense that this is an independent film that we're doing. So like you said, I wear a lot of hats. So I have a very well-rounded understanding of what official day is like. After you've done 40 shoots, there's definitely a pace. And if you haven't developed a pace, then there's a problem.
Okay.
So I rent a lot of locations hourly. Sometimes it's like, $7,500 an hour. You're looking at $500-600 for a location. So I'm like, I need to be as efficient as possible with the time that I have. So you go by the script, you see how many scenes you're shooting, you schedule it, and I always schedule like an hour beyond how long I think it'll take. And because of doing that, out of 42 shoots we've had, I believe 3 of them have gone over time. And if that, it'd be under an hour. So really just going in with the understanding that things are going to happen and having these backup plans. Really just, if you have severe anxiety, then this is perfect for you because you're already thinking of backup plans. What's going to go wrong? You're already there thinking about,
Wow.
you know.
So think of what goes wrong first, and then you'll be prepared for it in case it happens.
Sure. I mean,
And it's out of the way.
yeah. If it happens frequently enough, like it's a common problem, then you can go in expecting those things to happen. You know, like our boom pole's XLR cable is operating weird. It's got some kind of clean. All right, well, we're gonna monitor that. We'll buy another one. We'll see how it goes, so that it's not a problem next time. You know.
It's like future troubleshooting.
Yes.
You know, and most people, I think, have a problem with that. You know, the common Joe or Josephine, they have a problem because I just want to focus on what's going to go right. And I understand that, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you think like Thomas Edison, because that's exactly what he did. You know, he had his team, and he would think, okay, he studied what would go wrong first, so he would be prepared for it. Actually, that's a really intelligent, wise thing to do.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah.
It's one of those like survival type of things, you know, because I mean, I don't know about you, but I really don't, and I don't like rescheduling things, and I don't like to waste people's time. You know, that's one of my rules that I carry with me for anything is I'm always watching the clock. I'm not here to waste people's time. I'm here to get a movie done. So keeping things like that in mind is a little beneficial.
Tell me something about Wayne State. I went there too. What was that like for you?
In a couple sentences, if I'm just being very vague about it,
Right.
Parking. We all paid for parking. In my sophomore year, the freshman parking was free. So you're thinking about in terms of academically, not so great. But I would not be making this film if I had not met the people that I did at Wayne State. Like my cameraman, he went to Wayne State as well. His name's Mike Tokars. I had a great professor. He taught screenwriting. His name was Joel David Silvers. Obviously, a huge impact on my writing capabilities from having learned from him. So film is definitely a networking medium. You can't do it by yourself if you're doing production. So you kind of need to get that networking from somewhere, if not else, college, you know.
I agree. It's a fantastic school. There's a lot of positive energy and things. A lot of cool people. Yeah. Now, you also told me something about kindness and weakness. You take over that. What is that? Kindness and weakness.
Kindness for weakness. That is my first feature film that I directed while in college. It runs 110 minutes long. We released it in 2018. So at the time, I was a full-time student at Wayne State for film. And my uncle is a film director as well. He's released 4 independent films over the last 20 years. So me and him decided to write a script together. We decided to do the whole thing together. I was like, I want to do this with you. It'd be fun. He was a big influence on me. He's one of my best friends. His name's Michael S. Fields. So we wrote the script for a dark comedy, and we shot it over the summer of 2017. I think it was about an 8-month production. And then the premiere was at an Imagine Theater in Canton in August of 2018. It was really fun. We sold out the theater twice. I even had people asking me for autographs after, which is very new for me. But we were able to get that on Blu-ray and DVD through Amazon. And still crazy to think that I could even like imagine making a whole feature film while in college full-time and also working a full-time job. And I think a second job. So
you have an S on your chest. You just won't show us, right?
A little bit.
Wow. What was the movie about, and where can we find it so we can view it?
The film is about he's a retired author. He's only like locally successful, but based in Michigan. And he has a roommate from the past that kind of hears about his successes, and he tries to come back into his life and make amends, only to kind of try to take from him again. Not a good friend. So it's a dark comedy. You can find it on Amazon for Blu-ray DVD. It is on YouTube, but there will be a director's cut sometime next year. So that's what I'll look more forward to.
Okay, that's exciting. I love it. When you said that he came back, there were two main characters, correct?
Yes.
And one sort of double crossed him?
Yes. Yeah. So the story in the film is actually based off of something that my uncle dealt with in real life with a friend that, one of those friends that will try to, they'll smoke with you or they'll play games, they'll do stuff that's not like proactive for your actual life, things that aren't like great for you. So he's kind of one of those friends. So the main character is successful now. He's got a life, he's got a girlfriend, but that friend comes back and tries to pretend like he's sorry for the things that he's done, only to try to get some of his money,
So it's a dark comedy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just raunchy in the terms of like dialogue and the way characters treat each other. Quite a few F-bombs, let's just say that.
Okay. I can't help thinking you said dark comedy and how you described the characters. I gotta say, Cable Guy.
Cable Guy?
Dark, because that's a dark comedy. It's bizarre. Yeah. I want to find that. I'm definitely going to be looking forward to seeing that.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Can we deviate for a second? I always like to ask people this. What is your favorite?
What's that?
What is your favorite movie?
If I had to choose?
Yeah, gun to your head. What is your favorite movie?
It's a Wonderful Life, because I played George Bailey in California on stage.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I have to say that, but that's like, and then all these other movies come to mind,
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, well, what's your favorite?
I always say Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
Really? With Robin Williams?
Jim Carrey.
Wait a minute. Oh, no, Robin Williams was in that other one, sort of dream-like state. I forgot the name of it.
Awakenings or something like that?
Yeah. No, Awakenings I got. It was something else. Gotcha. But Spotless Mind, I didn't get that. I tried.
No. Really pay attention,
It was good. The acting and everything else, and Jim Carrey, no matter what, Why did you like that?
For me, I just found the themes of the movie to be so melancholy, just so depressing. It's I wouldn't say it's relatable to that extent, but I always like hearing the story of how the director told Jim Carrey he found him before shooting. And he took one look at Jim Carrey. He said, "Oh my gosh, you're so depressed. You're so broken as a human being. Don't fix yourself until we're done shooting." And I'm like, and then I look for that in the scenes. I'm like, man, this is a sad guy right here.
Maybe he was going through something.
Yeah, definitely was.
Wow. Talk about like real.
Yeah.
Oh, When Dreams May Come. That was Robin Williams, and I didn't get that one either.
Gotcha.
Maybe I would now, you learn and you grow. But
sure.
Now, also, I have a question concerning kindness and weakness, okay? Mm-hmm. This will be good for producers and directors and people that are doing what you're doing. Mm-hmm. How did you fund it?
So I funded it entirely myself. I worked anywhere from 40 to 60 plus hours a week between my full-time job. And for legal reasons, I won't say what the name of the place was, but we'll call it the bread store. I worked at the bread store, and I just, you take shortcuts when you can, and you really cut things tight,
40 to 60 hours a week. I don't know if that's more hours in the week. How many hours in a week? I forgot. But
well, 48 in 2 days. So that's working minimum like maybe two.
Okay. Well, when did you sleep and eat? And
just whenever I could.
See, that's dedication.
You have to be.
Right. You can't go in halfway because it will come out halfway, Mm-hmm. that's what it takes. I'm talking to the audience here. I'm talking to you, but it takes pure commitment, crazy commitment. And then, it's like not that I know what it's like, but a woman getting pregnant and carrying a baby, right? She can't say, you know what, this is a little heavy. I'm going to put it aside for now, and just, ease my feet. No, wherever you go, it's there. And it's the same thing. You were birthing your film baby, you carried it everywhere. That was probably the only thing on your mind, predominantly.
Yeah. Let me piggyback off of that a little bit.
Yeah.
Most people, they talk about ideas they have for things, whether it be films or whatnot, or things that they're going to do. But most of those people don't physically do it. And you don't get anywhere in life by just talking about things. You got to physically go out there and do the things. And most of the time, you're not going to have a good time building up to it. A lot of days you might just want to quit. I know I've wanted to quit most of the, more often than not, but you just have to do the things that most people aren't willing to do to get things done. I've seen many people start projects, but then you never hear about what happened with them because they never finished them,
They kind of disappear.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, what happened to the person? You're absolutely on spot about that. What happened to the person who gave up? Nothing. Nothing. Now there's something else that we shared, and I'm really excited. And you're talking about Los Angeles. What about Los Angeles? What about that? You and California, eh?
So I've lived in Michigan my whole life, and California has always been a place where I've at least wanted to visit. And I've been in film for 6 or 7 years now, and obviously California is a big film state. But for me, I am at a point in my life where you want to do the things that you think you want to do and not just don't do them, because then at the end of your life, you're just going to regret not having done these things. So if I want to go out to California, even if I've got nothing going on, I can at least say that, hey, I went out there and I tried and I experienced it, as opposed to staying in one place my whole life, not developing, not growing, because you're not in a new environment. The opportunity for me came on set of The Social Worker. One of my actors, his name is Stephen Owsley, who's a wonderful guy, by the way. He's super enthusiastic. He's from Brazil. He speaks fluent Portuguese. He's a really cool guy. He was telling me that he was going to move to LA with a couple of friends around the same time as I wanted to, about October of next year. So I was like, oh, perfect. Well, we're going to have to be friends now. And we only had 3 days of production, but we just kind of clicked in a way to where it's worth at least trying and figuring things out if you guys are compatible to live with. Because I don't know about you, but I don't have a budget to live by myself in California. It takes other people, roommates.
Sure.
That's a compromise of film.
Sure. I agree 100% with that. You've never been to California?
Not once.
I think it's an adventure. It is. It's different. You got perks out there. It's like any place else. Okay. Do you like the beach?
Oh yeah.
There's a lot of beaches out there.
Yes.
Yeah. And it's cool calling your family, in January. Hey, what are you doing? It's like 40 below. Yeah, I'm on the beach. It happens. But there's a lot of opportunity out there because Michigan, like you say, I grew up in Michigan too. It's an industrial, not that there's nothing going on, obviously, but it's an industrial state. And that's more, well, it's agriculture, but it's also entertainment big time,
Sure.
Yeah. No, that's amazing. How much comfort have you had? I'm talking about comfort zones because you mentioned about how people stop and they don't continue on. Have you, this sounds so funny, but have you ever been during the process of like kindness and weakness? Maybe you can tell us a struggle story or something, or even social worker, okay, where you didn't know what to do and you were extremely uncomfortable and it didn't seem to work out. I mean, you had to troubleshoot big time because people stay in comfort zones. Why? Because they're comfortable. And over here, it's nice to look at, but not always do they go there, not realizing that the uncomfortable will become comfortable, just like the previous. So what's your take on that?
When I was a teenager, I was probably one of the most socially awkward kids you could meet. I did not have a good time meeting new people, and I was very anxious. So if you could tell me if you could tell the 10-year-old version of me, or one from 10 years ago, that I would go as far as seeking out 100 people to make a movie and to be in constant contact with all these people, I would tell you to go screw yourself, because it just wouldn't be in my personality. I'd be like, no, there's no way. That's just too stressful. So what I've learned, especially when you're growing and developing socially, and to get out of that kind of uncomfortable zone, is you have to kind of just force interaction with people. You have to kind of get over the hump. When you are regularly interacting with large groups of people, or individuals throughout the day, it starts becoming just second nature to you. And it's not the whole, oh man, I got to talk to this guy, kind of thing. It's just, oh, here's a person, I'm going to talk to them. To give you a specific example, I go to a lot of stand-up comedy clubs. It's a fun thing to do, just to not have to be using my brain for 2 hours. So I go there every Thursday night. There's this place in Wyandotte, Michigan. It's called Joe's Hamburgers, and they do stand-up comedy open mics every Thursday night. So me and my cousin have been going there every week for about 3 months. They have really good coffee. And I always thought the atmosphere of the place was very unique. It's a sports bar. It's very red. There's lots of cool stuff on the walls. There's pennies glued to the floor.
So why?
Yeah,
I have to ask why. Just because?
I'd have to get back to you on that.
Okay.
But for me, I'm a penny pincher. So like when I go in there, I'm like, oh man, I'll see what I can snag, and then finding out it's glued to the floor, like, oh.
It's a cruel joke. Okay.
Yeah, a little bit, but I digress.
Yeah.
So we get to the point where we come to these shows every week, and all the staff know who what our names are. They have coffee brewing for us when we get there. All of that stuff. They're all very nice. So I get to a point where like, okay, I need to shoot a restaurant scene coming up. I need to book one. We're also kind of pandemic / post-pandemic-y timeline wise. So it's not necessarily as easy to get locations, especially from complete strangers. So I get myself my little manila folder with all my scenes and the paperwork and all that. And I go and I talk to the owner and I ask, can you do this for me? We love coming here. I've been bringing people here. I've been bringing you extra business. And he said, yeah, I'm not going to be a babysitter. Don't steal anything, but no problem. So just this last Sunday, I was able to shoot a scene there. All because I networked for months leading up to it. You got yourself in with the staff, talk to the owner, make yourself appealing enough to be like, I can trust this guy in my store. But it takes all of that to get what you need. If I didn't get this location, I would have just dropped $600 to rent a location. It's little things like that that can make or break you.
Right. And I one thing, many things stuck out, but one thing, you're tenacious, Bryan. It took many months for networking and a lot of questions. You didn't take no for an answer. You remind me of my friend who just moved to California, Giuliano. He's a question person. I mean, always seeking, because it's guaranteed that you're going to find if you keep going in one direction, you're eventually going to hit pay dirt, right?
Sure.
Yeah. I like that altitude.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. Tell me a little bit about, I got my notes here. I want to make sure I cover things with you.
Yeah.
Nicole and Jeremy, because they're in the film, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Maybe give them a little shout out and a little credibility. What are they?
I would love to. So Jeremy Francois, he is the lead character. I've personally known him most of my life. He's a family friend. He used to go to like the New Year's Eve parties at my house, that type of family friend. So I've known him for a long time. He was also a lead character in my uncle's feature films. So I knew he had acting background. He does a little music. So this is a situation where he's actually a social worker in real life. So my senior year of college, I had to like pitch some type of some type of project that maybe we could potentially do as a class. So I was trying to figure out what, I just need to turn this assignment in. What can I write up really quick? And he was telling me about his cases in social work. At the time, I didn't really know too much about what social workers do. And I don't think a lot of people do in hindsight. I don't think they're represented well in the media. I don't think people understand just how important and incredible their jobs are. So he kind of gave me some of the bad cases that he's dealt with over his career, some of the things that he's heard. And eventually these notes just started piling up and eventually turned into the screenplay. So with half of my heart and half of his heart in the screenplay, I wasn't going to not offer him the role to play himself, So definitely a part of his soul is in this film. He's a very passionate person about the work he does. And I couldn't appreciate him enough. Nicole, she's actually in New York right now for an acting school.
Nice.
To work with as well. Some of the people that I cast, there's like Facebook pages where you can go through like acting networks for Michigan, for example. So I found her off there. She sent me a really thorough audition, like an audition where you could tell they actually cared and took the time. And for that, that's a big green flag for me. She nailed the role, and she's done us. She was so accommodating because with an independent film, it's not just 5 days a week for like 3 months and then you're done. It's a couple weekends, every weekend, every week.
Right.
Sorry, did I lose you there for a sec?
No, we're back.
Okay.
We're good. Wonders of the internet.
Yeah, it's not every day. So she was able to manipulate her schedule to accommodate these days. She was flying to New York for a couple months. I'm like, okay, well, when you come back, we'll just shoot out your scenes in like a 3-day stretch. And that's exactly what we did. We had a couple 12-hour days, and everything worked out perfectly. And she was a champ for being patient about it.
And I acknowledge what you said about her, especially. That's fascinating. I love New York, loving New York, and she's there studying acting. That's great. But I got to tell you, you speak like it's going to sound silly because you are, but you speak like a director. Okay.
I would hope so.
You got this flexibility, okay, about you, and it's not always gravy, okay.
Mm-hmm.
They're kind of boring and stuffy, How are you supposed to grow in a perfect environment? You can't, because you're working, like you said, you're working with networking people that have lives, okay, but they're willing to help out and they're willing to do this or that and the other thing, and you just have to be flexible.
Mm-hmm.
As a director, I mean, you're going to be people listening to you that are in this entertainment industry in various ways. How important, on a scale from 1 to 10, how important is it to be flexible instead of rigid?
For me, being flexible is the whole world. If I was rigid and had hard points for everything I was going to do, I would not get very far. I have to compromise a little bit with everything. There's too many examples I could give you, but whether it be, all right, here's one. When it comes to directing in the act of doing it, when we're shooting a scene, I always have one take where I'll tell each of the actors, I said, okay, if there's a wording, a verbiage, or something that's not working for you, or something you want to add to the scene, take away, this is the take to try it. Half the time they'll stick to the script, but some of the time they'll add an extra line that wasn't written and it's like fantastic and we got to keep it. But giving people that openness and that creativity to develop their own rules, I've been told by them is a game changer. So all parts of film, you're going to want to be flexible on, whether it be scheduling. For me, is the least favorite part of doing anything. As you've said, people have lives.
Right.
But you kind of don't have a choice when it comes to that. You have to be flexible.
Right. Actors sometimes, and my students, I'm an acting coach, and I think one of the major things that they struggle with is, and when I say stage fright, I'm not just talking about theater. It's anxiety in front of the camera.
Mm-hmm.
Who is the camera? And if an actor of yours is having trouble getting into the role, right? And the camera's there, okay, the all-seeing eye, okay, but how could you play it? Speaking as an actor, how could you play it or show them how to play it like it's not? It could be your best friend. I don't know, some creative, imaginative something besides a camera.
Yeah. So I do a couple things leading up to kind of helps with that. One, I've read somewhere, and I'm sure this is probably more common practice, but you don't want to show the subject any of the pictures or anything going on with the camera, because then that's the moment where they're super critical of what they look like. Any kind of media or pictures or screenshots is something that could be done after the scene is over. Because if you're looking at a shot and they're worried about, you know, a smudge on their, that's going to take away from what's going on. That's going to put them in their head. They're going to be more worried about their appearance than their performance. So
Right.
that's one thing to do. For some scenes, you can be flexible. Let's say they're on the phone. Sometimes I'll just go in another room and I'll be the person on the phone doing the lines with them.
Nice.
So, they're more in real time with it. We shoot with 2 cameras, so sometimes we might not run through a whole scene. We might just shoot an angle where it's just on the one actor. So what I could do is I'll have the other actor in the scene kind of stay in the same eye line of where the actor is supposed to look and still do the lines. So that way things are still running naturally. Little things like that. But if all else fails, and I've never come to this issue before, if they're struggling really bad with their lines, like I said, I'll just say, okay, forget the lines, do it the way that you know how to, and we'll see what it sounds like. Give it your best shot.
To be yourself more.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I think more than anything is being patient, because negative energy projects itself. So no matter what, I always try to be as patient, tell them we have as much time as we need, things like that. The energy is a big important factor in any kind of set.
The energy is everything because it's vibrations, right? You can feel it. It's in the atmosphere. It sounds to me like you're fun to work with. You're intense. You want things done a certain way, but it's like, I think his name was O'Selznick. He was really hard on Judy Garland in Wizard of Oz.
Mm-hmm.
Slipped her some amphetamines without her knowing.
Oh, really?
Seriously, and it's like there's horror stories out there, jerk. but
Yeah.
but I like how you understand you have almost empathy. Have you ever acted? I know you direct, but
I acted in my first film, but I've never had a role in someone else's project.
wow, because it sounds to me, just talking with you have sympathy. You listen, you watch the actors, you want them and it's a collaboration. You want something good, they want something good, you come together and you work together.
Sure.
That's a good director.
Thank you.
Yeah.
For me, I mean, I just try to promote having as comfortable as a set as possible as well. They'll laugh at me, but it's like little things like I'll make a point of bringing out extra chairs, and the cameraman's like, I don't need a chair. We're okay. I'm just making sure everyone's good, things like that. But they appreciate it.
They remember you.
Yeah.
Reputation goes a long way in this business. It really does.
Indeed.
Yeah. So now The Social Worker, when is that coming out?
It's going to have a theater premiere, probably September or October of 2022. Looking at a Metro Detroit theater location, and then probably one in Grand Rapids.
Okay. That's exciting.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I said this at the premiere of my first film ever, which I was incredibly nervous about. Like I was sweaty, I was shaking. Like all these people are about to watch this movie I just spent 2 or 3 years working on.
That's big.
Yeah, I said to my uncle, I was like, all of that trouble for this premiere makes it worth it. The premiere is a lot of fun. And it definitely will be this time around. I'm very proud of this film.
Yeah, this is exciting. Now, big question for all who are watching you, okay? If they want to contact you, how would they do that?
I have an Instagram, which is Gibby, Gibby 3200. And then I also have a Facebook, which is facebook.com/Gibby3200. And then any subsequent links you can find from those.
Okay. And how about a YouTube channel? Or how can they? Do you have trailers out right now? Any trailers?
Some stuff out. I haven't been super big on YouTube the last couple years, but my YouTube channel is called Papaya Planet Productions.
That's cool.
I try.
Papaya Planet Product. That yeah. Keep going. I'm sorry. That's awesome.
Good. So there's Papaya Planet Productions, which is a mouthful. And then I have a singular YouTube, which is just my name, Bryan Gibbs. Bryan with a Y, because it matters. But yeah, there's not any media going on for the film right now. Looking to do that more towards the new year. But
see, that's zany. I'm sorry, what? The last
part? What's zany?
No. What you said until the end of the year, what?
Oh, I said you can't find too much about the social worker right now because media is all here. But yeah.
Okay.
What is zany?
Papaya Planet Productions. It's like when I watched, I'll give you an example. It sounds so Jim Carrey. It's just, David Letterman, okay? I used to watch him quite a bit. And at the end, the name of his production company, and they just said it, blurted out, Worldwide Pants. And I'm thinking, that's so weird. It's cool, but it's weird. And I get the same reaction inside myself. It's like, Papaya Planet Productions.
Well, thank you. It's quirky.
Yeah, that's what the word I'm looking for. It's quirky. Yeah. No, that's very cool. Now I gotta ask you this. It's on my mind. Do you edit your own work or
I do
it? Okay.
I've been editing for maybe 10 years, and I edited my first film on Adobe Premiere Elements, which is like $100 knockoff of Premiere Pro, because I didn't want to spend money.
Okay.
I will be editing The Social Worker. The main reason is because any single person can edit a movie a dozen different ways, 1,000 different ways, but only I can edit it the way that I would edit it, So if I paid someone a bunch of money to do it, it's not my vision that they're editing. It's their own vision. So that's one part of making an independent film. You have creative control in that regard.
That's true. I have to agree with that, because do you like the editing? Do you like editing?
On most days.
Okay. Sometimes it can be tedious, millisecond cuts here and,
It's not so much the editing itself, but on my first film, I edited on a laptop that I had since I was in high school. So it's just like you're trying to watch a clip and it's like 4 minutes of buffering just to kind of see what the clip is, that kind of pace.
Sure.
So for this film, we were shooting it in 4K, which was new for me, and I can't even open those files. My computer's like, no, sorry, we're too old for that.
Oh, I see.
I'll be getting a new laptop is the moral of the story.
Good. Yeah. I asked just because I was plain curious, but also when like my students, they make reels, okay? And they ask me how to do it. And I said, well, take your best stuff, make it between 1 and 3 minutes, take the highlights of each scene and you edit, cut and paste. And I had one person ask me, do you know an editor? So I connected them with one. But really, I have to agree with you. I know you're a talented editor, but I got to do this myself, because you put how many years did you put into Kindness and Weakness? 2, 3 years?
I'd say 3 years for each.
That's big.
A lot of time.
Yeah. Like I said, I referred to it as a baby. That's your baby,
Mm-hmm. Well, like I said, you go and work on any type of movie ever. You're not going to see anyone just having that kind of creative control. It's going to be there's a writer, and then there's a director who's a different person, and then the editor who's a different person. There's a lot of different hands, a lot of different eyes that go through it. Whereas the script for me started with my eyes, and then it's going to be finished editing with my eyes seen all the way through. Whether it's for better or worse, I don't know, but
That's a matter of opinion.
yeah,
Yeah, that's commitment.
it's
In
true.
your opinion, in your educated opinion, is there a difference, and what is it, between commitment and motivation?
Commitment and motivation. Oh, give me a second. That's a tough one. Yeah.
I don't rush people. Take your time.
So I've definitely been committed to the movie the whole time. As I'm thinking, okay, I have a film shoot tomorrow where I have 20 people I got to be in touch with, and it's all got to be done no matter what. I'm committed to it. Motivation is how much I feel about doing it. So I'm going to have to, tomorrow I got to get up in 5 hours and drive 2 hours for a film shoot and then pay all these people out of my pocket that I just spent 2 weeks working for. Do I feel motivated? Not so much. But it kind of depends on, which we've talked about before, your energy, and rest is a big part of it, obviously. You have to have a good mindset going into it, regardless of, I don't feel like shooting on this day. Well, think about what this day is going to lead to. It's going to lead to the end of the film where you don't have to do this anymore, in theory. So it's hard to stay motivated a lot of times. Everyone's going through things in their lives. It's just trying to keep those things at bay and not have them consume your overall energy and mindset, I think.
Nice. That's very nice. Very well said. Wow. I like it. Yeah, it was very accurate. You're running through my mind, because that's exactly what I thought about commitment, motivation. It's like going for a run at 72 degrees. I can do that. Going for a run at 34 degrees. No.
Yeah.
It's like, how bad do you want it?
Mm-hmm. The running thing, I haven't gotten to that far yet.
Where do you see, how old are you again?
I'm 24.
24. Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Dead for 4 years. No, honestly, I want to spend a couple of years in California. I would direct a feature film in California. That's not a huge pipe dream of mine. Weirdly enough, out of all things that I'd love to do with film, the biggest thing that I think would be cool is just to have a picture with Keanu Reeves. If I get that, then I've won it. I'm good. I don't need the money. I don't need the fame, notoriety. Just a picture.
That's awesome. He's a great actor. He's a great humanitarian too.
I love him. But I'd say if I had to choose one thing that I would love to have done in the next 5 years, my uncle is an author. My grandfather is an author, both of which have wanted me to make films for them. But my uncle has a book called Spirits of the Darkness. It was the very first book he published back in 2013. And I always thought, and I might be showing a little favoritism, but I always thought it could be the next Harry Potter type of level of intrigue. It's a children's book. It's got a lot of sci-fi elements. And I've written the screenplay version of it already. But it costs money. So I'm hoping one day I can win someone over and say, yes, we need to make this into a movie.
Yeah, like a fund campaign.
Oh, yeah.
Like that, you get enough contributors in that, it can happen.
Here's the thing for me. I want to bring this up. The thing I struggle with, and I still do it because I have to sometimes, but I do not enjoy asking people for help. And that's something you have to do in these positions. And it depends on what the thing is. For me, I can't stand asking people for money. I've never done any kind of GoFundMes or fundraisers. I've never asked my parents, I need just a little bit of money to shoot this. I don't have it in me. So alternatively, I'm I'll just work 14 hours today. I'll just pay for it that way. I'll suffer a whole lot so I don't have to ask for help. But that's something that every filmmaker needs to think about, is that you can't do it yourself. You need to be prepared to know who you need help from and how they can help you, and have that conversation which you can drive it to make it happen.
That's true. I mean, I have a friend, Joshua, and I did a fundraiser once, and he contributed $50, but he didn't even say a word. He just, sure, boom, I got it, because he trusts me, and I've coached him before. And it's the reason why I say that is, some people, because you don't know what casting directors think, you don't know what directors think, you don't know what the actors think, you don't know what anybody thinks, but someone could be so stoked, hey, I'm a part of this, How do you know? I gave $100. I'm a part of it. And it does something inside of them that they connect and contribute in some way.
Mm-hmm.
So you never know until you ask.
Yes. And to piggyback off that, my first film, I barely had to pay anybody, which I'm not proud of. Like, I'm not proud that I didn't have to pay anybody. I'd much rather everyone getting paid like $1 million each. This one, I'm paying almost everybody something.
Nice.
Regardless of the fact that I'm budgeting it myself, I couldn't at this point in my life be like, I still need to pay them something, even if it's not, you know, $1 million. At least some type of, so where they feel like, you know, it's worth it. And what was one thing that was weird about that is on my Sunday shoot, there were we had like 15 or 20 extras planned, and I think 6 of them were not supposed to be paid, and let's say 6 of them were. The 6 that were supposed to be paid did not make the shoot, but the 6 that were not paid did. So it's weird psychologically, you know, like it's not always necessarily money that will get people. Sometimes it's the relationship you build with them.
Very true.
You know, or how they're contributing to the role. If you just say, hey, I need you to come in to be, ooh, sorry about that.
That's okay.
Phone's dying. Let's say I lost my train of thought there. I'm sorry.
It's okay. Money, relationships, actors, pay, not pay.
Yeah. If someone's coming in to be an extra as like they're just a waiter or something, they might not do it if there's no, you know, there's nothing to the character. They're just sitting there the whole time. But if I get someone, I'm like, oh, I'd really love to have them in this film. You could add an extra line for them. You may use it, you may not, or you can add an extra shot that you didn't plan for.
You're giving them an education. You're giving them that feeling, a sense of pride and more confidence is what you're doing.
Yeah, investing a little bit into them, not necessarily financially, but something.
Something. So you're a contributor. You contribute to society in an artistic way, you know?
I appreciate that. That's very nice.
Yeah. Because you see she's the whole master shot. You know, there it is. I got it. Tell me, as well as the audience, once again, how do they contact you?
Honestly, Instagram is the best way right now. Gibby 3200, GIBBY 3200.
Instagram. You're big on Instagram? Okay.
Yes, I guess.
Okay. Sounds good. Listen, it has been a privilege and an honor and absolutely fascinating. I learned so much interviewing you on Real Actors, Real Answers, and I appreciate your time.
Same here. I appreciate yours.
Yeah. And everyone, as well as myself, keep an eye on Bryan Gibbs, because he's going places, because he's determined. He sees a wall, he pushes it down, right?
I appreciate it.
Yeah, definitely. So thanks again for being a guest on my show. I appreciate it. And keep pushing ahead and stay in touch, please.
Yeah, I'll do what I can. I appreciate your time.
All right. Thank you. Enjoy your day.
You as well.